Everybody has to wrestle now with their own concept of financial independence or getting rich or becoming wealthy. I know some people are a little uncomfortable with those kind of phrases, and I can understand that. You know, we've heard the phrase, which is true, to love money would certainly be evil. But money's not evil. There is some evil ways to acquire it. The difference between greed and ambition. Contrary to the movie Wall Street, greed is not good. Greed is evil and must be dealt with. Greed is evil. Greed hopes for something for nothing. Greed hopes for more than its share. Greed hopes for something at the expense of others. We call that evil. Right, we should lock them up. It's true. Make them pay the price. Greed is not good. Here's what is good: ambition. Legitimate ambition. Legitimate ambition says, I only want something at the service of others. Not the expense of others, but at the service of others. Jesus gave the greatest scenario for success when he said, whoever wishes to be the greatest, nothing wrong with wishing to be the greatest. It's called enlightened self-interest. But he gave the key to those who wish to be the greatest. Here's what he said: find a way to serve the most. Service to many leads to greatness. Not the expense of many. Not at the calamity of many. The greed for power caused Stalin in his day and time to kill 30 million of his own countrymen. His greed and lust for power was so powerful. It is true. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Stalin, probably one of the best examples. He was willing to kill 30 million of his own countrymen to satisfy his greed for power. Power at the expense of others, not at the service of others, but at the expense of others. But Jesus turns the whole scenario around and says, to be the greatest, the most powerful, is a worthy ambition as long as it's done in this mode. Here it is, at the service of many. Service to many leads to great wealth. Service to many leads to great recognition. Service to many leads to great satisfaction. Zig Ziglar probably said it as well as anybody could say it. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. That's not greed. It's called legitimate ambition at the service of. But I know some people have, they're struggling with this idea, and we talk about how to get rich. I've been teaching kids, all these years, how to be rich by 40, 35 if you're extra bright, much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. And some people are a little disturbed by that, teaching kids how to get rich, teaching kids how to make a fortune. So I've modified it a little bit, and here's the best I've been able to come up with. And that is the goal to become financially independent. The fundamental process of knowing what information you need and gathering it is one of the keys to living the good life. Some of the best advice Mr. Schoaf gave me in those early years was why and how to study. That's a key word for life change: study. If you wish to be successful, study success. If you wish to be happy, study happiness. Happiness is not an accident. It is first a study and then a practice. If you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. Would you like to guess how many people make wealth a study? Right, very few. Surely, since wealth and happiness and success are all values to cultivate, you would naturally assume that most people would make a careful study of them. Why they do not is yet another example of those aspects of life that fall into the category of mysteries of the mind. Remember, major keys to your better future are going to be ideas and information. If we have any lack, it is not because we lack money or opportunity or resources. It is because we lack ideas that have taken form from information. Many years ago, I learned that some of the best advice ever given comes from the Bible. There's a phrase in that amazing book that says, if you search, you will find. So that is the way to discover ideas and life-changing information. Search. In order to find, you must search. You must go to the seminars and to the training classes. You must listen to the cassette programs that can give you breakthrough ideas. You must go and engage in conversations with people of substance. You must go looking, go searching. Rarely does a good idea interrupt you. And as you make a diligent search, you will find just the ideas you need. Now, here is the next key word in the process of seeking information that can change your life, and that word is capture. When you find a good idea, capture it. Don't trust your memory. Capture everything, write it down, record it. This is one of the reasons why we have put this program on cassette tapes, to capture the ideas. As a serious student of wealth and happiness, I would encourage you to make use of a journal as a gathering place for all the ideas that come your way. So start a new discipline that can lead to wealth and happiness. Find out how things work. Never let it be said you didn't find out. Now let me give you a qualifying phrase. You may not be able to do all you find out, but make sure you find out all you can do. You don't want to wind up at the end of your life and find out that you lived only 1/10 of it, and the other 9/10 went down the drain. Not for lack of opportunity, but for lack of information. Let me share with you two of the best sources of information available. First, as we have mentioned, learn from your own experiences. Become a good student of your own life. It's the information you are most familiar with and feel the strongest about. So make your own life one of your most important studies. And in studying your own life, be sure to study the negative as well as the positive, your failures as well as your successes. Our so-called failure long for 10 years, I wouldn't suggest another 10. But what a close at hand and emotionally impactful way to learn from your own experiences. When I met Mr. Schoaf, I had been working 6 years. I started when I was 19, and when I met him, I was 25. He said to me, "Mr. Rohn, you have been working now for 6 years. How are you doing?" I said, "Not very well." He said, "Then I suggest you not do that anymore." 6 years is long enough to operate the wrong plan. Next he asked, "How much money have you saved in the last 6 years?" I said, "Not any." He said, "Who sold you on that plan 6 years ago?" What a fantastic question. Where did I get my present plan that wasn't working well? Hey, everyone has bought someone's plan. The question is, whose? Whose plan have you bought? Now, those initial confrontations as you come to grips with your own past experiences may be a little painful at first, especially if you have made as many errors as I did. But think of the progress you can make when you have finally confronted those errors by becoming a better student. And if you decide today to go for the apple instead of the Hershey bar, I'm telling you, you have begun the process of turning your life around. And if you keep up that process, not only with your health habits, but with your money habits and with your communication habits, with your sales habits and management habits and every other habit that you got, if you'll start that process, eliminate the errors and replace it with disciplines practiced, I'm telling you, you can start this process of life change immediately. After today, you don't ever have to be the same again. Only by choice. You don't have to walk out of here the same as you walked in today. Only by choice. You can start a whole new process. And you say, "Well, Mr. Rohn, is it that simple?" Yes, it's that simple. Where else would you start but with an apple? You don't have to start with something staggering. What if you should be walking around the block for your good health and you don't? What'll that do in 6 years? I'm telling you, the word is disaster. You could and you should and you don't. Here's an even stronger word. You won't. I mean, don't might mean you're careless. Won't probably means you're stubborn. And either one's called disaster. Could, should, don't. I'm telling you, that's why at the end of 6 years, I found myself with pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, creditors calling. Could, should, won't. Could, should, don't is called disaster. Now, how do you change all that? The next 6 years, I got rich. The next 6 years, I became a millionaire. By the time I'm 31, I'm a millionaire. How about that? You say, "Well, Mr. Rohn, what happened?" Well, strangely enough, during that second 6 years of my economic life, the government was about the same. I'm telling you, taxes were about the same. My negative relatives were the same. I'm telling you, the economy was about the same, and prices were about the same, and everything else was about the same. Circumstances were about the same. Then how come I got rich? How come I totally changed my life? I was not the same. Somebody says, well, what did you go to work on to do all that? I started with my philosophy. I started amending my errors by doing some better thinking, changing my mind, coming up with ideas that I didn't have before I met my teacher. And once that whole process started for me, I'm telling you, I changed my whole life. Within a 6-year period, I was never the same. And I've kept up that process all these years. One of the reasons why I'm here is to continue my craft. I don't want the day to come someday somebody says, you should have heard Jim Rohn 10 years ago when he was really terrific. Guess what I want people to say? I heard him 10 years ago, but you should hear him now. I'm telling you, the man works on his craft. I'm telling you, the man's done some extra reading. I'm telling you, the man doesn't miss a trick. I'm telling you, he's worked hard on himself. That's why he's able to deliver like he does. The same thing can happen for you as a teenager. It can happen to you as a mother, as a father, as a business person, as a salesperson, running a business. Doesn't matter. Management, wherever you find yourself. This is the process called personal change. And what I say to start with is, start with your own philosophy. Your philosophy is going to determine whether or not you go for the disciplines or continue the errors that's called potential disaster. And everybody has it within their power. Well, it was so happy for me to find out at age 25, Mr. Shove said, Mr. Rohn, you don't have to change countries, but you do have to change philosophy. And if you'll change philosophy, not country, you can turn around your income, you can turn around your bank account, you can turn around your skills, you can become capable, powerful, sophisticated, healthy, influential, all the other equities that you could possibly want out of your life, using the only stuff there is and not trying to change any of this stuff. Appreciate all of this stuff with all of its ups and downs, with all of its mystery of why it works and sometimes it doesn't work. Don't challenge this. You don't have to ask for another planet. You don't have to ask for another country. Just ask for another book. Ask for another seminar. Ask for another idea. And you can start this whole process of personal life change. Now, I could spend the whole day on philosophy, because that's where it is. If I could get you intrigued with that enough to study it, enough to ponder it, to where you would pick up the commitment like I did and say, hey, as simple as an apple a day, as simple as a walk around the block, why not start right there? If you don't start there, where else are you going to start?